been really focused on working in the Raw Balance initiative, and for those of you who are there with me, you have gotten to know me in a totally different, out of the kitchen way, and I'm really enjoying it. And if you're not a part of Raw Balance yet, it's not too late. I'm pretty sure you could still join at any time. But either way, I needed to pop in here because I have a new obsession and I have to share it with you. Because, you know, I get that way. You need to know what I am in love with. So here we go. Let's find out how I am so addicted to kale right now. So while we're talking, let me just tell you, I have flat leaf kale. This is from a local farm, and that's why it's kind of small. And then you can get the dinosaur kale that's got like mondo ears and stuff. This is similar, that it's flat. I think this farmer, he calls it Tuscany kale, but it's also called, I think, Lasatino kale. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyways, looks like a feather, doesn't it? I could only ever find curly kale forever and ever and ever unless I went, you know, 45 miles, 45 minutes away to a Whole Food, then I could find some flat kale. So it's such a treat because my farmer's market here, this guy, he's been growing more of this Tuscany kale, he calls it. Okay, so let me just say this. I washed it, it's laying here, and now I'm just taking my fingers, gripping the stem, and then just pulling it away from the stem, leaving just the dark green part, throwing my stems in a bowl. So a couple years ago, when I first got my dehydrator, I bought it used, gently used, been great. One of the first things I wanted to make was kale chips because everybody in the raw, you know, world was talking about kale chips and how much they love kale chips. And then I was looking online, well, I gotta try kale chips, and they were $9 a bag. I'm like, I gotta make kale chips. So I looked up a couple of recipes and I tried it, and I did not like kale chips. And I was really sad about it because, you know, that's the deal. So recently, when I was at the farmer's market and I bought like 4 bunches of this kale, and I thought, oh my gosh, I have got to do something quick. Let me try again. So I did. I tried making kale chips again. And now I'm so excited about this recipe. But wait, don't say, oh, it's kale chips, I don't want to make that. The dressing that I'm making to marinate the kale chips in and then dehydrate them with, it's my new favorite dressing too. Oh my God, it is so good. Okay, so you have to thank Penny Shelton because she posted this recipe a long, long time ago. And so after I had bought all this kale, I went to Raw Food Rehab, and I went in the kitchen and the culinary center, and I looked up to see who had what for kale. And this was her recipe. So, okay, so now that I've got my kale pulled away from the stems, I'm just gonna rip it. The first time I made kale chips, I left it in those long pieces. It wasn't bad, I'm just gonna rip it, like in half. I'm not going crazy. I want it to be, you don't want tiny pieces if you're making kale chips, but, you know, whatever. This dressing, thank you, Penny. It makes me sing. I just love it. Okay, so we're starting out with a 1/4 cup of raw tahini. Look, if you can't find raw tahini, sometimes it's very difficult to find it. You can order it online. As a matter of fact, I just ordered some from Natural Zing. I can find it sometimes, but I usually have to order it online. Okay, so 1/4 cup of raw tahini. The juice of half a lemon. I'm just going to squeeze it right in there. I'm not going to be neurotic about the seeds. I mean, you know, you should pull them out. I pulled out a few when I cut it in half, but I just heard a few plink in there. I don't care. Your blender should smush it up. It's okay. Okay, so juice of half a lemon. I'm going to put the recipe down below. You don't have to go crazy writing it. A small garlic clove, or half a large garlic clove. And now, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Might as well face it, I'm addicted to kale. So it's funny how the guy at the farm stand, he never asks me. Every week I go running up there, try to get there early, because he runs out and he doesn't have tons of this, especially now, it's getting later and later. And I'm like, 3 bunches of kale, please. He doesn't even say, like, what do you do with all this kale? Kind of funny. I thought he would ask me at some point. And 2 tablespoons of aminos. I'm using Bragg's aminos. You could use probably tamari, namashoyu, the coconut nectar stuff, coconut aminos. I've been using that a lot lately. Okay. And then we need 2 tablespoons of water. Pure filtered water, of course. Remember back in the day, you guys would email me, don't take water from your tap. I'm sorry. I have an amazing water filter, but it's over there. I don't feel like walking over there. Don't hate me. Okay, so that's everything. The last thing, and this was the key, I think. This has been the key to all of my failed recipes, is that when I was first making anything with nutritional yeast, it was gross. And I could not believe all of these people were using nutritional yeast to make all kinds of cheesy recipes. I couldn't even get it to taste nice at all. Then I was like, you know, try new things. You're always telling the kids, okay, try it again. It's been a long time. Maybe your tastes have changed, whatever. I bought a different kind of nutritional yeast. Love it! So excited. And it makes this recipe. You absolutely have to have it. If you don't eat nutritional yeast, well, I don't know what to tell you. 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. I'll tell you what kind I'm using. It's Bragg. I go a little heavy on it. Not too heavy because you're going to sprinkle some on later. Okay, that's the whole dressing. Now blend this puppy up a while till it's smooth and creamy. Okay, so I have only been able to actually make kale chips a couple of times because once I smush all the dressing in and I start to taste it and eat it, that's it. It goes in a bowl. I just eat it out of the bowl. And I just eat it like a salad. So what I've been doing is making double the amount and just keeping it in the fridge. I take a little bit, add water to thin it, and then use it as a salad dressing. I love it. Oh my God. Anyway, so I'm going to pour almost all of this into my head of ripped up kale, destemmed, washed, but I'm going to leave some dressing in here because what I'm going to do is add a little more water to it, thin it out, and stick it in a bottle in the fridge so I can use it for dressing later because this time I am making kale chips. Okay, rings off. We're going in. You want to get your dressing worked into the kale. You really want to work it in there. So, yeah, just really, really work it in. Check it out. Smush it. Get it all coated. All right, once you have the dressing totally incorporated onto your kale leaves, take off your bracelets and your rings because you can get in there up to your elbows, frankly. You're just going to lay this out on your dehydrator sheet. Now here's what I've heard. I have heard that if you don't have a dehydrator, you can still make this. You could lay this on a pan and put this in your oven, lowest temperature setting, leave the door open a crack. Why not try it, you know? What's the worst thing that could happen? I laid out 2 sheets worth and I left a little bit in the bowl for me because I just want to eat some without feeling like, oh, I won't have any kale chips. Okay, this is totally optional, but I really like the kind of like mainstream munchy chip kind of thing where you get a little bit of powder on your hand and then you get to lick it off. So I just take a little bit of nutritional yeast and just sort of sprinkle it on. Don't do too much. I did too much the first time. And sometimes it just makes a mess and then it's not as enjoyable and you can't eat it in the living room and you know what I mean. You know what I was thinking? I think that I'll take some of these kale chips to the guy at the farmer's market on Saturday because it's the last day for our farmer's market. But I want to talk to him and see if I could come out to the farm maybe to get this kale because I have to have it. I'm totally addicted to it. Okay, these are going into the dishwasher. No. Into the dehydrator on 105. 110, whatever you want to put it on is fine. I usually keep things like just below 110 so I don't mess it up because I have, you know, numbers and a dial. I don't have digital. And then it's a few hours, seriously. I try to leave them in about 6 hours. Go in, check, take one, eat it. Don't eat the whole tray because then you won't have a pile when you're done and you'll, you know. Anyway, so this is going in the dehydrator, and then I'm going to thin out this dressing and put it into a jar. And I hope that you try this recipe because it's amazing. I love it. I can't believe it took me so long to figure this out.